Good afternoon. Here is KJ7T. My name is Tom Salzer, and this is Random Wire Reflections, the podcast about the Random Wire Review newsletter. I'm recording this not at my home booth, which is really my sit-stand workstation, but in the cab of my truck. This is my mobile booth today. I'm recording directly into a Zoom H4n Pro portable recorder with a dead cat filter over the microphones to cut some of the pop and maybe a little bit of the wind. Now you may hear my air conditioner in the background going because it's a warm day and I'm sitting out in the parking lot just idling. And you may hear the occasional door slam and exhaust pipes of a car going by, but we'll just see how this goes. As in most things in my life, I am mobile, and this is not a bad way to be. So with that, let's proceed to take a look at what's coming up Friday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific Time in Random Wire Review issue number 97. In issue 97, I refer readers to a Reddit thread about the First Amendment and ham radio. Reading through those comments helped me appreciate the many privileges we enjoy as licensed amateur radio operators even more. A new Dakota lithium battery, the DigiRig Mobile and DigiRig Lite devices, a terminal node controller by MFJ with some photos, thoughts on encrypting radio traffic, and how I use APRS. Bonus, an all-Starlink sound clip for those of you who have never heard anything over all-Starlink. Issue 97 also touches on a new lithium iron phosphate battery. I succumbed to a deal on Facebook for a 12-volt, 10-amp-hour battery from Dakota Lithium for a mere $69. This little guy is a bit larger than my off-brand 12.8-volt 6-amp-hour battery by Talent Cell, and I'm surprised the Dakota battery doesn't weigh much more than the Talent Cell battery. I tested the battery by clipping the power leads from my Ten-Tec Scout 555 transceiver to the spade lugs on the Dakota battery. It worked great, and I can tell this is going to be a mainstay in my ham radio kit. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the DigiRig devices. I have a DigiRig mobile device that I bought quite a while ago because I couldn't get an MFJ terminal node controller, at least at that time. The DigiRig device works great. It's about the size of a large thimble, as in the protective device you put on your thumb when sewing, that kind of thimble. Actually, the DigiRig kind of blows my mind. Essentially, it's an external sound card that is just simply tiny. The catalyst for me to look again at the DigiRig product line was an issue of Steve Stroh's great newsletter titled Zero Retries. Steve included a bit about the new DigiRig Lite device that incorporates some of the needed cabling into the device. Man, I love a tiny and complete solution, so the DigiRig Lite is on my must-acquire list. If you like content that is interesting and future-focused, produced by an experienced and very capable ham, I recommend Steve's newsletter to you. A subscription button is included in issue 97 of The Random Wire. A new TNC has arrived in my shack. Speaking of terminal node controllers, Steve's mention of the DigiRig Lite caused me to remember why I bought the DigiRig Mobile. So I went looking for an MFJ 1270X TNC again. Most vendors I checked list this device as out of stock, but Ham Radio Outlet in Sacramento had some. I very swiftly logged into my HRO account and ordered up another 1270X. It arrived a few days later, and I include unboxing photos in issue 97. And let's talk for a moment about encryption of radio traffic. I overheard an interesting conversation from an East Coast reflector while on a morning drive for the coffee that fuels the start of my day, every day. Somehow, those hams got onto the topic of encryption of radio traffic by city, county, and state agencies. I reflect a bit on this in issue 97, and I'm of two minds. Normally, I would prefer radio to be open to all, but I've been in the public safety arena and I understand the need to protect people, families, businesses, and public officials. If encryption makes public safety officials safer and better able to do their jobs protecting us, then I support it. How do you do APRS? I actually did laugh out loud when this title popped into my head because it echoes a line in the 1980s movie The Last Starfighter. An alien is meeting the hero's friends and family, and when one of the folks there asks him, "How do you do?" he responds with, "I do well. How do you do?" That's the intonation I hear in my mind when I read, "How do you do APRS?" I run APRS in my mobile rig, a Yaesu FTM 300DR that runs on VFOB. I also have APRS enabled on my desktop All-Star-Link node, that's node 588412, and on my Yaesu System Fusion hotspot. Those two devices simply report the position of the devices. They aren't digipeating or eye-gating APRS traffic. I'd love to know how you use APRS, and if you don't, why not? The technology has been around for a while, but I consider that a strength because it means there are a significant number of APRS digipeaters around the world. I've been sort of thinking of adding a digi on my home network, and that means getting either a pre-built device like the WX3-in-1 Plus or building a fill-in digipeater. There are links to some interesting digi projects in issue 97. And before I close this podcast, hours after RandomWire 96 was published last week, All-Star-Link announced the availability of ASL version 3. This is presented as a beta release. If you take a look at the online manual, this is a big step forward for ASL. It includes several different forms of hardware, including virtual machines and Debian 12 support. I welcome this big version change, but I think it should come with a cautionary note. Many of us will want to upgrade to the latest and greatest version, which is now ASL 3 Beta. If your node is running fine, I suggest waiting a little bit to see if undiscovered bugs or problems come to light, especially if your node is publicly accessible. Despite my sense of caution, I must say, well done to the All-Star-Link folks. I feel like my financial support of All-Star-Link is helping to make a difference. All-Star-Link is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, so your donations may be tax deductible. I'm sure I'll give it a try soon. My cloud node is definitely a public-facing system, so I'll capture multiple backups of the working node before I go down this path. Step 1, though, as always, is to read the user manual. Well, we're coming to the end of another RandomWire Reflections podcast with just the closing notes in issue 97 to go. I did clone my hotspot microSD card as I suggested I should a few weeks ago. The clone is currently in the hotspot and running fine. The original card is labeled and in my workstation drawer. The image file that I can use to burn more microSD cards is stored on my file server. That's about as backed up on this system as I think I can get. Something I'd like to do in RandomWire review issues is include a sound clip of a particular operating mode. In issue 97, I link to a 7-minute clip of an All-Star-Link net that lets you hear the wide range of audio quality among the participants. Audio ranges from smooth and clear to completely broken. One of my goals is to help subscribers who have not used some of these modes experience the kind of audio you might hear. I think I'll throw in a few photos from the Hillsboro Hops game just for fun. Getting away from radio for a few hours can be a refreshing change that helps provide a bit more perspective when you come back to it later. With that, I'll say thank you for taking the time to listen and to comment. 73 to all. This is KJ7T, and I'm clear.